Hi! Welcome back to this more of this Johnny Somali bullshit!
I've seen this video. There's a guy called Legal Mindset who's actually an American who's a lawyer in Korea. I think he does business stuff. But he goes into he explains it more in detail what he's looking. This was before, if you watched our previous video, the bomb threat update.
Oh.
It's safe to say the most hated IRL streamer is in a lot of trouble in Korea, as he has multiple police reports against him and has officially been indicted. But how much trouble is he actually facing? Well, that's what we're going to be finding out in today's video, because I got in contact with an attorney based in Korea who's been very involved with the story and has a way better understanding of how the Korean legal system works. Because after talking to him for about half an hour, I really found out how bad things really are for this disrespectful IRL streamer. So here's my conversation with him.
I've been told by a lot of people here that the international coverage of this issue is significantly helping expedite this. So that's actually a really good thing.
So it's like moth to a flames because it's so big. It's making the case go by faster.
Oh, that's good.
As an attorney, what are your thoughts on how Japan handled the situation? I just wanted to ask you that before we talk about the Korean situation.
Sure. And I'll say this too, and this is like a caveat that goes over everything.
Yeah, I think it explains it, but Japan just they fucked with him for a little while. Then they said, get the fuck out, never come back.
How do they make sure he stays banned? So did they ban him from the country altogether?
Yeah. Anytime you fly anywhere, your name goes on a list. When they run your name, like say you go to the airport, if you're on a no-fly list, that will pop up.
Huh.
Kind of the same way when he if he flies into Japan, when you go through customs, your name's gonna pop up. It's the same way here if you fly into an international airport.
And so what? They just be like, no,
More
you
likely
can't.
they tell you to get on a plane and go the fuck back.
Okay.
Worst case, they might put him in jail.
What if he took a boat?
Still the same thing. I go through a port of entry.
Oh, okay.
Not that there's that many boats going to Japan, but...
Yeah.
And I'll say it multiple times, but because it's important to say, obviously I am not a Japanese or Korean lawyer, right? So when I speak about Japanese or Korean law, it's through usually friends of mine who are lawyers in Japan or Korea who have explained it to me, right? And as an American lawyer, obviously it makes a lot more sense to me than perhaps the normal person, because we're used to criminal procedure, civil procedure, etc., right?
Okay.
So when we look at what happens, also as an aside, one of my businesses is helping folks come over to Asia, to Korea, Japan, Thailand. So I am familiar with immigration, the visa process, and what often happens with deportation, right? Which can happen with deportation. So that said, Japan handled this in a very interesting way. So they could have brought
that's probably the best interest. Because why spend resources and time and stuff on housing him in Japan? Why not just, since he's not a citizen and at all, just make sure he never comes back?
And it's easier for Japan because they're an island, too. He can't just sneak across any border.
Right. So, yeah, that was actually a pretty smart way to punish him.
I mean, they hold him for a while just to send a message, and then they told him probably to get the fuck out.
Okay, yeah.
Charges against him. It was possible to levy more charges against him. However, what they ultimately ended up doing was saying, okay, we're going to have this one charge, this relatively minor charge, right? You're going to enter into a plea, right? We're not going to sentence you. We're going to release you. You are going to have to leave. But because he was found guilty of that plea, he's now blacklisted for 5 years, right?
Oh,
so
only 5 years? Why not forever?
I don't know.
Maybe. I would have made it permanent.
That's probably the limit of their laws.
That's sad.
So he cannot go to Japan. So right now, one of the jokes that Johnny was saying was, he's going to go to Jeju, which is an island. It's like Korea's Hawaii, right? Even if he went to Jeju on a boat, he couldn't go anywhere because the only options are China, which good luck there.
Send him to China.
Send him to China.
There, North Korea or Japan that are right next to us, maritime neighbors. And, he can't go to Japan. He's
He might get to Taiwan. He could fly out that way if he thoroughly want to get on a boat, if a boat can make it that far. But even still, it's going to cost ass tons of money.
Yeah, which he does not have.
He's going to do what the former CEO of Nissan did. Sneak himself onto a crate on a cargo plane. That's his only option.
Oh, don't give him any ideas, hon.
You doing that smart?
Well, if he hears you.
If he hears it, I'll laugh my ass off.
locked out. He's banned for 5 years. So a lot of people think Japan should have gone harder on him. But frankly, they do not have the volume of video evidence that we have in Korea. And Korea, this is something that folks don't know as compared to Japan, Korea has a lot more CCTVs.
Okay.
So there's probably a lot more footage we're not even seeing of Johnny Somali from different angles that he did not stream. Because a lot of the footage we're seeing as YouTubers online is from Johnny's perspective during his own streams.
Yeah.
But mind you, every single store in Korea, everywhere you go, there's CCTVs everywhere. And I guarantee you, in this case, the police have pulled a lot of that footage, and they've proven that he indeed has done these things.
Wow. Okay. So you think that things are going to be very different in Korea than what they were in Japan?
Very, very different. And also the fact is the prosecutors and authorities here are very aware of what he did in Japan.
Okay.
Unlike in...
Yeah, because Japan, he just popped up. I never heard the name Johnny Somali until he started doing the shit in Japan.
Right. But now he has a record.
Yeah, he has a record.
In Japan, where they really weren't aware of his history or his background or anything else, the judge, when he made a public apology, which he did in Japan, had every reason to believe he was sincere because he hadn't really ever done something like that in the...
The other thing is in Japan, they rely way too much on the honor. I guess it's a culture thing, but they have honor there.
Yeah, honor system.
So when they think you're apologizing, they take it sincere. They take it at face value.
They don't think that someone could be just acting like they're sorry.
Yeah. Versus this.
Yeah.
In another country, another place. After Japan, of course, we all know that he left Japan, and then as soon as he left Japan, he insulted Japan. He showed pictures of the atomic bombs. He insulted Japanese people. He said China #1.
He is digging his hole deeper and deeper every day. It's going to, like you said, when eventually the 10,000-ton hammer comes down on his head, it's going to be so hilarious.
Dude, all those
Where is
tons
his
after
next
he left
goal?
the country.
Is he going to go to Russia?
The other thing, even if he can escape through North Korea somehow, which I doubt he can do that, the two countries that border North Korea, China and Russia.
Which there's like war stuff going on over there.
So, not only that, you're technically an illegal immigrant in that country.
Yeah. He's screwed.
Korea can look at that behavior and say, well, we don't put much on this public apology, which, by the way, in many Asian countries, right, including Korea and Japan, a public apology can be used to mitigate the punishment, right? So if somebody's done a public apology, they show remorse, right? That can be used to mitigate punishment. And that's also true in the U.S. too, right?
Well, you just said, like, if you do a public apology, they can, like, okay, you publicly apologize. Well, instead of giving you a year, we'll give you, 90 days or something.
When you go to sentencing, showing remorse can be a factor for lowering the sentencing and not giving someone the maximum sentence. So I think when we look at the criminal guidelines, right, and we look at minimum and maximum, right, you have to think, okay, what would be maximum? That would be something that is very aggravated, that's very intentional, that's very willful, that's malicious. What's something that's the minimum? Somebody that did something perhaps where there's a lot of remorse, right, where it might have been something that was accidental, right, or there was some mitigating circumstance. When we look at Johnny, it's closer to the top end of the spectrum than it is to the bottom.
Interesting.
Right? Because of his actions, because of what he said. And one interesting thing which I pointed out, and this is something that my Korean friends who are very well versed in the law, including lawyers, have told me, Johnny is facing multiple crimes in Korea. So he has this obstruction of business one.
Every time I see this clip, it just gets worse and worse. I don't know why.
Because of how much of a messy asshole he's being?
Yeah, I just...
Which was just indicted on, which means it was sent to the prosecutors.
I hope he paid
and the
for that,
prosecutors
too.
recommended this for trial. That's
Do you think
charge
he paid
number
for
one.
that?
I think he
But
had
the
to.
police are still
they wouldn't give it to him
investigating
otherwise.
several other charges
No, I mean,
against them.
do you think he
including
would
the
have
drug
walked
use,
over, grabbed
including
it,
assault,
and started doing that?
No, I don't think he did.
Okay.
Otherwise, that would have been said already.
Yeah, that would have been like stealing.
He already been charged for that if he did.
Right.
Because he's already getting charged with being an asshole to this lady, just on that alone.
Okay, good point.
including deepfakes, including all sorts of other things that people are now reporting. So he can be charged just because he's got this first offense. He can still go through with charges and trials on all of those other issues. And if he's found guilty of this first offense, for the second, third, fourth, and fifth, he will be a convicted criminal. He will be a repeat offender.
Good.
So when they look at that scale of maximum punishment to minimum, that's going to send it flying to the top because he is now a repeat offender. He's now a convicted criminal.
Okay, yeah, so that kind of brings me into my next question, because there was a bunch of Discord logs coming from their server claiming that some of these charges already been dropped. Has anything officially been dropped yet?
Well, that's always the problem. I wouldn't believe a single thing Johnny Somali or his Discord.
Yeah,
Oh, he's the one saying that
he's
they've
saying
been...
it from his side.
Wishful thinking.
So he's like we're getting his side of the story, and you can see how trustworthy he is.
Okay,
Discord
yeah, don't
bros
listen
are
to
saying.
that.
I mean, obviously, they're going to say a lot of stuff that is absolutely ridiculous, right? If something is dropped, we're going to hear formally about it. Mm-hmm. Right now, what can happen and what may happen is, and I've explained the on my videos, I've had a process timeline for Korea because the process in Korea is different. In Korea, you file a criminal complaint, and unlike in the U.S., individuals can file a complaint and often are required to file a complaint to fill out the charge, to fill out exactly what the allegations are. The police often don't do that for you. You often have to do that yourself. So you fill out this criminal complaint, you file it with the police, and then the police conduct an investigation, and they decide whether to refer that to the prosecutors or not. So it's possible that some people have submitted things to the police, and the police have said, you know what, we're not going to send this to the prosecutor's office, right? So,
or people probably are making stuff up just to give them more charges, and they probably couldn't find any evidence on it too. That could be happening. I'm not defending Johnny Somali, but I'm just putting that out there because he's already pissed off the whole Korean Peninsula at this point.
Okay.
For example,
I have no comment.
The one issue that I've brought up, the one that is debated right now, is that deepfake charge by Bong.
That's what he did.
Gross! I feel sorry for her, because no one would want to kiss that ugly mug.
That's
the one he's also getting hammered on, too.
Bong IRL, the Korean female streamer.
Oh.
That one, it's debated whether she submitted a complaint. We saw that. We saw video of that. But she subsequently experienced kind of, I guess, a change of mind. And it seems like she was lashing out at Korean netizens and Koreans in general. So she may have pulled that back, or she may have said, hey, look, I'm not going to testify in this or get involved. And the police may have just decided, we're not going to refer this one over. But they might still be holding it. They might still be looking at it. We haven't gotten any official confirmation one way or another. So I would not trust any.
Who knows?
Anything that's coming from Johnny and his boys in terms of what's been dropped and not dropped. Everything that I've heard is that there are several that are on the table. Most importantly, assault and drug use are still on the table, have not been taken off.
Again, I said this in the last couple of videos. You don't take drugs to South Asia at all. I don't care if it's legal in the States or it's legal in your state. You don't even have a speck of weed on you because they will fucking hammer you. That's what that one basketball player got fucked with in Russia because she had TBC oil on her.
Oh.
table yet.
Okay, and the assault, I was a little bit confused about that. Where is the assault charge from?
That's actually interesting, and there's potentially multiple sources. It's much like the business obstruction. Actually, there's two separate instances at the same convenience store, the same 7-Eleven in Hongdae.
Okay.
So you can have multiple instances, and the prosecutors can combine them. So what the prosecutors may be doing now, and this is speculation, but this is, I think, reasonable speculation, is they may be looking at all the video, and they may be looking at every instance where Johnny potentially assaulted somebody, right? And saying, okay, how many of these can we stack together? How many charges can we get? Because right now they're collecting multiple reports, which is why I've called out, because I have many Korean viewers now, many folks calling in and giving messages from Korea, that if you are in these videos, you need to consider filing against Johnny Somali, right? Many of the Korean YouTubers,
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be in any
are
of his videos. Fuck that guy.
I hope that old lady. I hope she's the one that started all. I hope she gets justice for that.
filing against Johnny Somali or have filed against Johnny Somali. So it's when you look at these things, you're saying, okay, these things can add up. So we don't know specifically. My inkling is it's going to be multiple accounts.
Interesting. So like he can really end up in prison for a long time in Korea then.
Yay!
It is potential that he could. Yes, he has potential to end up here for a
I would say potential, but my guts. I know they're going to hammer him. My guts tell me they're going to hang on to him for 6 months and they're going to tell him to leave.
You think they're gonna do what Japan did and ban him?
They might do something a little bit more than Japan, but inevitably, I feel like they're just going to kick him out in 6 months, and he's going to show up right back on. That's just my gut feeling. I'm hoping he gets the maximum, me personally, but I feel like they're just going to kick him out and don't ever come back.
Significant period of time. And one of the things, even with the obstruction charge, is they had the option of going down two roads. One of those roads was towards summary proceedings, which essentially is a quick, fast proceeding where the judge just essentially says, okay, here's what we're gonna give you. It's probably gonna be a fine and what's called a suspended sentence, which means you don't go to jail. You just live your free life, walking around doing whatever. But you've got to stay in Korea for that period of time. They might have done that if it wasn't that serious, but because there's been so much pressure, including international pressure from coverage like international YouTubers' videos that are getting out on this, they've sent it the trial route, which is the other route. They've officially indicted him, which means there will be a public trial in Korea. It's not sure.
So, and I think, I'm not sure if it's Japan or Korea, but if you go to trial, you're going to jail.
Oh.
Like, it's one of those things, like, they have, like, a 95% conviction rate. I might be wrong thinking of Japan, but typically when you go into a trial, that's like, okay, you're trying to negotiate your way down out of a punishment, not...
Whether it's with a judge or a jury. Juries are relatively rare in Korea compared to the U.S., so it might just be a trial where there's a criminal trial where it's just a judge and Johnny. However, that's the route we're going down, and under that route, the punishment is always more severe, typically jail time. All lawyers that I've spoken to here say this indicates
your idea is not right then. He is gonna get...
I feel like someone in the State Department is going to negotiate him and get him out.
Why?
I don't know.
Why?
I just got a gut feeling.
Who would help him?
that they're looking to seriously and severely punish Johnny.
Wow. Will this trial be public?
Yes, I will be there at every single hearing that I can be at.
Oh, wow.
And it will not be televised. That's the important thing. So Korea does not televise trials. Most jurisdictions don't.
Do you think he's going to somehow try to
record
record it?
Oh yeah, I got a gut feeling he's going to be in there trying to sneak a phone in. But I think
he probably can't get away with that.
Yeah.
Sunshine laws in a lot of states, like in Florida, and transparency laws in other states that allow for filming. But even in the U.S., not all trials are allowed to be filmed. And most significantly, federal trials cannot be filmed, which I think is a great disservice. But I'm going to be reporting before the trial, after the trial, at every hearing I can go to. And if I can't attend, I'll have somebody here that I trust attend, and I'll report what goes on during those hearings.
Okay, so you cannot record within the trial, essentially. So you can't film or record audio.
Not legally.
Okay,
No.
interesting. Yeah, you don't want to risk anything. Don't crash out over him.
I'm not trying to do anything.
I wonder if he got caught
I've heard
trying to record the
let me say
trial.
this.
If
I've
that
heard
would
some
just be
people that
another
are YouTubers and
sentence.
streamers who are
no
saying, "Oh man, I
Yeah,
want to take the risk."
Plus, it's probably a good idea not to piss off the judge. But yeah, he's going to do something stupid during the trial. I bet.
Want to go for it? I'm like, you can do whatever you want, but I'm staying clear of the law. I'm a lawyer here. I stay clear of the law.
Yeah.
So I'm staying out of that.
Why do you think he hasn't officially been arrested yet? Like, why is he roaming around freely right now?
First of all, that's a difference in the Korean process, and people misunderstand.
Okay, he explains this, so just listen to this part.
That. And he has been, quote unquote, arrested, right? He's already been taken in, booked. They got his photo. They told him the charges against him. So he's gone through that booking process. It's kind of like being released on bail, right? Except for there's just, that's the automatic presumption is they just let you go. And here's the logic. And I think when you really think about this, it makes a lot of sense. If you have somebody in jail, you have to feed them. You have to clothe them. You have to provide them with some basic services. You have to allow them to stay somewhere, right? So you have to maintain facilities. Korea
so that's
says,
why
hey,
he's
look,
not
as a
really
foreigner,
in jail.
You've got to pay for all that yourself. So the money, the
so I'm
bills
guessing
are
it's kind
coming
of
in.
similar to when someone has like an ankle monitor or something.
I don't think he's got an ankle monitor.
No, I'm just saying it's similar to that.
Yeah.
On Johnny Somali, right? He's not legally allowed to work here, right? Which is a separate issue, right? And whether his streaming activities constitute his work is a gray area, right? But he should not really be making that much money. So he's having to suffer really here in Korea through the pendency of the trial, which could take a while. So imagine you're in a foreign country and you've got to pay for months and months and months and months. Johnny Somali is not that wealthy. He does not have that much money. So this is actually going to be a significant burden on him to just maintain himself in this country, particularly since he can't farm it for.
So it's actually worse than not putting him in jail. Because where is he going to get the money to stay in a hotel room? Where is he going to money to eat? Where is he going to sleep? I mean, come on.
He's gonna be homeless.
And not only that, he's got Korean streamers that are sniping his ass.
Wow.
For clout. So
okay, that's actually really smart.
He can't be clout farming because that's just going to add additional charges, aggravate things here in Korea. It's not going to help him out at all. So that's going to be a big burden on Johnny Somali. It's essentially shutting down his business operations for months, if not years.
So what are the legal costs like in Korea? Because I know here in the U.S. they're outrageous. I got sued for context a couple of years back. And just getting quoted how much they ended up dropping the case before it went to trial. So thankfully I wasn't burdened with that. But I mean, I was quoted hundreds of thousands of dollars just to defend myself. So like, what are the costs he's looking at to defend himself here?
Now costs are a little bit lower in Korea because the average is a little bit lower in terms of what folks would own. But the thing is, because Johnny Somali is such a high profile case, because he has so many things coming against him, right? To hire a competent defense lawyer would in fact be quite expensive. To put an estimate on it, and they do the same system of retainer, so you need to give some money up front, right? So I imagine that this lawyer wouldn't even start working for him.
My
even
little
just
kitty sleeping so cute and cuddly.
How we go from Johnny Somali talking about kitties?
Because I got bored.
But this part's funny. He's got to come up with money for a lawyer up front.
In the beginning, without something like, $5,000, $10,000, $20,000
slave work,
even for the basics, even for the absolute basics, in terms of just an upfront
make
retainer,
him work in the coal mines.
Not to mention representing him throughout the whole pendency of the trial and the period. Now, they are entitled, like in the U.S., to a public defender, right? Because these are criminal charges. So he can take the services of a free public defender, a state-provided public defender. But as we know in the United States, anybody who's had any interaction with the criminal system and public defenders, much like in the United States, quality may vary when it comes to public defenders. You can get some that are really good, and you can get some that kind of are phoning it in. They're government employees. They get a very low wage,
especially if it's
relative
free
to private attorneys.
Well, not free. You're getting paid by the state. Or the Korean government, I guess, or whatever they call their their version, but you're not working for free, but you're not. He's not going to get the best lawyer.
That's good.
Right. And the other thing about Korean attorneys is they're very frank, and this is what I love about Koreans. And I love about Korea. The reason why I love staying here, living here, is they're very direct. And I tell a story of when I went into a lawyer here because I was fixing up my visa. I was converting it from one type of visa, business visa, to another type of visa, and I had submitted the wrong paperwork. And when I went into that attorney, the first thing they told me, they're like, you screwed up, right? That's my.
What?
I wonder what his attorney is going to say to him because they're that frank.
Oh.
They're going to walk in and go, "Are you fucking retarded?" That is literally going to be the first words coming out of their mouth.
They're going to go up to him and say, "You do realize that I'm only here out of obligation. I am not going to help you settle this because everyone knows, even I know, you are guilty."
No, you are fucked.
My first interaction with my lawyer. I love it, but they're very direct.
Yeah.
So I can imagine with Johnny, they would sit him down and grill him for hours on everything he did
I wanna
wrong
hear
and why
that.
what he did was wrong. Koreans do not play around like that.
Not only
They're
that, he's going to need a translator too.
Oh, yeah.
Unless his lawyer could speak halfway decent English. Which I can only imagine is going to run the cost up more.
very, very direct. I love that about them. So I can see a lawyer that he approaches absolutely chewing him out and requiring a large amount just to even deal with it. So this could be something that costs him easily in U.S. dollars. This could get 6 figures.
The cat is asleep. He's dead on top of that box. Leave him alone.
I love him. He's so cute and fluffy.
ADHD stream, huh?
I told you I'm bored.
Absolutely, because of the
I
volume
don't care
of
for
charges.
all this legal
Right,
move.
so over the whole case, over all the money you'd have to get, 6 figures is
I wanted to
definitely
see
possible
more
in terms of
of
legal
him
costs.
being a douchebag so I can sit
That's
here
why I
and
started.
berate him.
That's why I started that first video.
Yeah, because you knew
Yeah,
I'd be
that
bored
is
in
just
this
that's
one.
insane.
Yeah. Don't worry, I got a funny music video.
So
after
yeah,
this
that
one.
leads me, I guess, to the next question. When it comes to
You promise.
I promise.
Stop pausing it so much so I can
prosecution of
end
this
faster.
case,
Well, that way we actually.
I can
are
talk
they
on
going to
top
go
of it.
for like as much punishment as possible, or do you think they're going to try to be a little bit lenient? Like, what do you think the odds are here?
So typically, with most foreigners, they are very lenient. So, in fact, for most
Typically.
foreigners, the solution is deportation.
John is one of
So
the
they're just like, look,
typical
we're just going to
amongst
deport you,
foreigners,
and then we're going to
so-
blacklist
Because
you.
he's a
Right, so you can't come
purposefully
back.
doing
That's
the dumb
typical
stuff.
foreigner punishment. Because at the end of the day, I mean, that's a
Unless
pretty
there's,
good
like,
punishment
murder or
for most
something.
things,
How
right?
often does that
And
happen?
typically you get
It could happen, but it's a rarity.
something
Yeah.
like, for example, drug use. If someone brought pot, it's very severe, but you're going to immediately get deported. You're going to get, hit with that
Where's
and
our
then
other cat?
deported
Where's Rafi at?
pretty quickly, right? You do something
He's
like
right in the bathroom
DUI or
sink.
whatever, fighting,
Huh,
etc.
where is
Probably
she?
just going to deport you, probably get you out of the
Oh,
country.
yeah, I need to
But
give
in
her medicine.
Johnny's
Get out
case,
of the
because it's
train.
risen to national attention. Literally, members of parliament here are bought in on this. They're proposing, they're in fact recently
he pushed off
drafting
the
new
government,
bills
like people in
parliament, specifically to
Oh.
deal with Johnny Somalis or Johnny Somali type
How do you
scenarios
do
in the
that?
future. This has gotten to national
It-
scale. So because it's that big,
Because of how
Because
much.
how many people he's, all the citizens and stuff he's...
and the fact it just blew up. Like, that's the only been a thing on the news for the past month.
Oh.
they're looking at this and saying, yeah, we kind of need to give some
So
severe
he's become
punishment
a
here. So
public,
they're
like,
looking at the severe and
Pariah. That's the word, right? Pariah. He's a
Public enemy number one.
yeah, pariah.
I'll go pariah.
That's the word.
So I think that they're going to push as much as they can, given the evidence that they have, towards the
I also
severe end
ran
of the
out of
scale.
water.
Now, of course, the ultimate sentencing is up to that judge, right? So they would be whoever is the judge, them looking at the evidence and making the assessment once they find him guilty, which, by the way, he is dead to rights on the interference with business, obstruction of business. That is like, I've spoken to several lawyers, people very intimately aware
Do
of
you
this.
think this will
one
be
is a
the end
slam
of
dunk
his
based on that convenience store footage.
very
Both
rude
of him
journey?
throwing the ramen,
Probably.
yelling at the woman, and then at the same convenience store
Probably
in
gonna
Hongdae,
send him-
when
like I said,
it was the old
my
man.
guys, they're going to send him back to the U.S. and he's going to have his passport pulled when he gets to the U.S.
You know what would be annoying?
What?
if he starts like just going to U.S. states and being an asshole like this.
Or if he goes to an anime convention.
Why does it always go there with you?
I don't know, it's just my mind things. Or he goes to just somewhere where people are going to be...
A mass amount of people who are normally friendly?
Yeah.
Man that comes outside and...
Because at the end of the day, he's a bully. He's a pussy and a bully. Most bullies are pussies. He's just going to go bully someone else so
and try to pick on people he thinks that he can essentially be stronger than, even though...
and whatever he does will get him attention, too, on top of that.
Uh-huh.
He's going to do whatever gets him attention.
Chases him when he was drinking the soju, and he was yelling at the people on the street. He called one woman the B word, right? That's the same store. Both of those things count as interference with business. Clear as day in Korea.
Wow.
So what is the latest updates of all of this that you know of right now?
So the latest updates, other than the biggest news, is the indictment.
So it's currently he's just hanging out on the streets or something?
I think he's in a hotel. How? I don't know. But I said, this video came out before the bomb threat thing. Which I can only imagine they're going to take really fucking serious.
Oh, so this is older than that last video?
Yeah. This is before the previous video I showed you. Where he was making the bomb threats.
Oh, he's screwed. No. Whatever you were saying that they're gonna... No.
Going to trial. But this is going to be something public. This is something that I will go in and cover. This is something that we're going to hear legal updates. This is not something they're going to bury. That is absolutely massive.
He had all this.
There was a little bit of the news and the scuttlebutt about
and he thought it was a good idea.
Right?
Yes.
But
to go on a subway.
He doesn't realize, and most people don't realize,
and
is
make
that Korean
bomb
system,
threats.
this is not, 1890.
When he
right? Korea
is
a very
already
technologically advanced country. And
going to trial.
Digital. So the travel
when
bans
he already has
are
all these other charges,
and he's not going to be able to get out of any port of entry, any place that he could possibly leave, because that's all digital, right? So even if he doesn't go to Incheon Airport, Seoul Incheon Airport, which is the main international airport, if he goes to Gimpo, if he goes to Busan, if he goes to Pohang, any Daegu, any city in Korea, they're not going to let him out. They're going to go. He's going to show up to the flight desk, and they're not even going to issue him a ticket. They won't even give him a ticket. He's not even going to get to immigration.
Interesting.
So, yeah, he's screwed. He can't get out. Like I said, unless he pulls the...
And he just made it worse for himself.
Unless he can find his way to fit into a package and ship his ass out, he ain't getting out.
And be lucky enough that he doesn't die in the process. Or he could try to huff it. He could try to walk across the border to, like you said, China or Russia.
Well, you gotta go through North Korea first. Then get across North Korea to either Russia or China. If he can make it to Mongolia, he might get out that way, but even still. His best bet is to get on a boat, maybe go south to Taiwan, but even then, I'm not sure.
Wow.
He's totally locked down here in Korea.
So then I've been watching your recent coverage on this, and something that has came up quite a few times is Cabbage memes in regards to him.
Oh, I heard about this.
Can you explain that? So why are you guys memeing that he is going to become a cabbage farmer?
So Korea, they actually thought about getting rid of this, but they didn't pass the law to get rid of this. So technically, if you get hit with a prison sentence, and part of that prison sentence includes a fine, and in the U.S. we have a system where sometimes you get hit with both jail time and a monetary penalty as well. That's possible. Both are possible. So if you get hit with both, and you cannot pay the fines, they still can send you to forced labor. Now, in Korea, there's 3 different main areas.
And that's exactly what I was saying earlier.
Well, they have coal mines, but...
I was just using that as a generic thing, because I don't, like you said, I don't know what they have.
We're farming cabbage.
So, okay, so he's going to be a cabbage farmer.
Number 1 is a factory. Number 2 is a road work, so sort of the chain gang, so to say, as we might be, using it in the U.S. So working on the roads, paving the roads, cleaning the roads. And the third one, because there's a shortage of workers, there's a legitimate shortage of workers here in Korea, is agricultural work. That is one area where they send people out there. So my theory craft here is
do something that's productive. in life.
And then people go by and film him farming cabbage or picking shit off the ground or something.
Well, not only that, but maybe he will learn to be, like, just not to be an asshole.
He's too dumb to learn.
No. Some hard work can fix the most stupidest person, I believe. So, yeah. That's smart. Get him to work in the cabbage fields.
Literally the cabbage fields of Korea, to be farming that lovely, lovely kimchi.
Maybe he can better himself.
That would just be meme magic. It would be perfect. Of course, yes, it's a low probability scenario because there's other things you could be set
to that's a good idea for punishment.
Pay that fine.
It helps
but
out
it is absolutely hilarious. And you know what? Johnny Somali deserves to be memed into oblivion.
Yeah, I mean, like, at the end of the day, like, IRL streaming can be so cool.
And
it's such a shame that now it's just so associated with his negative behavior, which is, like, one of the main reasons I've been covering as well. Like, I've been covering...
Right?
Yeah, they'll probably strip him of his phone. I gotta check something real quick. But yeah, no, they'll probably strip him of his phone.
So yeah, if that's the only thing you can do, eventually it will break his spirit and maybe also just make him a better person. Make him become respectful and just more appreciative. Because that's kind of one of the problems with some of these people like this. They don't have any appreciation for their life or the lives of others. And they think everything's just a game. So yeah, that's actually smart. I agree. Abanu, what you doing?
Just checking on something.
What you checking on?
Alright. But yeah, no, he's screwed either way. I mean...
No, I'm just saying this is the best course of punishment. Because like they said,
the memes of it would be funny.
The cabbages.
Just people doing laughably stupid stuff on the internet for the last, like, 8 years.
Too.
And he's just been kind of at the top of that for the last couple of months. So, hence why he's just been getting a lot of coverage from me. Because he just keeps blowing my mind with stooping to a lower and lower level. One other thing that kind of surprised me was he said that he wanted to sue you.
Yeah, he said he wanted to sue me, and I don't know what for. I don't know what he's going to try to do. Obviously, nothing I'm covering is defamation or insult, even though the defamation laws and insult laws are different in Asia. Right? Obviously, I'm doing news coverage, the same sort of news coverage that a public news agency would do, etc. Right? I'm a member of the media, as Elon says, we are the media now.
Yeah.
This is media coverage like anybody else. I'm covered and afforded the same protections. It is inherently in the public interest. This is a matter of great public interest. So even if he was to try that here, which, by the way, once again, he would have to find the money to do that. He would have to get all of my information. He'd have to have my location. Good luck on that. And he'd have to serve me properly with the complaint. Really right? So
and
very difficult
on how
process.
Long you have him.
Pressing X to doubt on that. It would be very, very difficult. But yeah, he did threaten to sue me in his Discord. He said he's going to file charges against me or something. Right? Once again, good luck with that, Johnny. And even if he did, which I would actually invite it. Because I would cover the absolute destruction of this guy in court publicly for everybody to enjoy. And I love a good bull suit. I love a good bull suit.
I think he needs this.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I guess it's just more content.
This is the best course of action.
I'm a legal content creator. You're going to threaten to sue a legal content creator that I can cover entirely for content?
For his well-being.
Thank you, Johnny.
To become a better person.
Well, yeah, thank you so much for taking your time to come on my show and explain some of the details that were very unclear
on that video. But yeah, so that gives them more details. And like I said, this is before the bomb threat shit came out.
Oh yeah, no, he definitely needs to go work on Cabbage.
So
thank you. My opinion is send him to the cabbage mines. Maybe then he can help out the country he keeps insulting, and maybe he can learn to be a better person and not be an asshole anymore. Everyone needs something, I guess.